One of my favorite movies is Pretty Woman, and there's a line in that movie that stuck with me over the years. It is, when somebody puts you down for long enough, you start to believe it. You know, I had that experience, and maybe you've had that experience too in your life. When I left the police force, I felt really beaten down by that experience. Part of it was because when we did basic training, that was part of learning to be a police officer, was being able to suffer through put down after put down after put down. The problem is I was one of those people that took a lot longer to recover from that. So much so that after my son was born, for probably about the first 6 years of his life, I felt so badly about myself, I wouldn't let anybody take my picture. And when I think back at that now, I remember that being a very painful space to live in, although I didn't probably know it at the time because that was my normal. I went on, as you all know, to become a crisis worker, though, and a trainer and a program developer. And in that time, what I've learned is how essentially important it is for those of us, all of us, to have a sense of our own self-worth, to have a high sense of worthiness. And because I, for the most part, have come through that to the other side, I want to share with you some insights and ideas that I have about building your self-worth up if it's feeling a little bit shaky, about feeling confident in your own skin, no matter what you look like. Getting away from this societal idea that we're all supposed to be cookie cutters of one another, and instead teaching you some of the ways that you can find your own extraordinary magnificence within and to the outside world. So that's what it's all about today. And during the whole thing, I'm going to be cooking up the most amazing comfort food recipe for hamburger soup. Oh, yum. Because today on The Kitchen Witch, it's all about comfort.
And this easy-to-make soup is as delicious as it is extraordinary. Kinda like you.
We're going to cook, I'm going to talk, and towards the end of the video, I'm also going to pull a card that's going to bring everything into focus. Cards are great. That's a Kitchen Witch tool, my Kitchen Witch cards, because what they do is they give little nudges of inspiration that can help bring the ideas that I'm going to talk about today together. So I'm getting started on our soup. You can see that I've put in the holy trinity of diced carrot, diced celery, and diced onion. And then I'm just going to add to that, I've got a pound of extra lean ground beef, and we're just going to cook all that up together. Easy peasy, super simple. So how did I go from a person who wouldn't let my photo be taken to now being someone who loves to cook and talk and create on camera? Well, how I did that was I really spent a lot of time going inward and thinking about who I am as a human being. Realizing that really I'm a miracle, you're a miracle. The fact that we're all here is a miraculous thing. And when I really began wrapping my brain around that, I began letting go of this idea that all I am is this vehicle I drive around in. And instead I started looking inward to the bright light that I know I am and that I know you are too. We all have the potential to be big, shiny, bright, happy beings that are making a difference here on this planet. But if we let feelings of low self-worth take over, and if we buy into this kind of societal norm or societal idea that we're all supposed to be the same, that, you know, there's only a group of people over here who really should be comfortable in their own skin, maybe those people who are rich or, you know, super skinny or the right age, whatever that might be, then where does that leave the rest of us who don't fit into that norm? Well, I say break free from that. Really think about and concentrate on the fact that you're a bright light and get out of a sense of smallness, because the world will keep you in a sense of smallness if you let it. Your challenge is to rise above that and see all the great things about yourself. Now, this is just about cooked through, and now we're going to add, I've got 1 tablespoon each of Creole seasoning and some thyme, and I'm just going to add that to our mixture. It smells so delicious. And we're also going to add 4 cloves of minced garlic, and we're just going to continue to cook that until the ground beef and the veggies are completely cooked through. Okay, so I know you're thinking to yourself, yeah, easier said than done though, to be able to get to this place of high worth and knowing the light that shines within. Well, I'm here to tell you that I have some tips that are absolutely 100% guaranteed are going to help you feel a sense of your own worth. And part of that is amazing extreme self-care. Eating good foods. You know, as the kitchen witch, I'm all about eating real healthy foods. So to this soup, first of all, we're going to add some beans. And I've got, I just took a can of mixed beans. I drained them, I rinsed them. We're going to add those. Not only do they add just deliciousness and texture to this soup, they also add fiber. And you know, fiber is your friend. Then we're also going to add a tin of diced tomatoes. People, if you are not eating tomatoes, you need to add them to your diet because they're so incredibly healthy for you. That's all part of that Mediterranean philosophy. And you know, tomatoes are full of antioxidants, not to mention yummy. And of course, if you pair this up with a little bit of red wine, well, you know, I'm always a fan of the red wine too. Hey, it's good for the heart. So we're going to mix that all up. And speaking of the heart, that is the next tip or the next key that I want to talk to you about. So living our lives, not from this outward sort of perspective, not from this outward perspective that, oh, I'm not a supermodel, or I'm not that young anymore, or I'm not old enough to do that. I want you to start living your lives, or think about living your life from the perspective of your heart, your solar plexus, or your heart chakra is what this is called. And what I want you to do is imagine that you, as this amazing beam of light, that you have a power source right here in your heart. And if you're a person who lives from in here and has a powerful, beautiful, loving heart, and you know it, and you take that beauty and that power and you extend it outward, through kindness, through service, through doing for others, through doing things that are just awesome in this world without ever needing to be repaid. If you can live your life in that way, here's the magic. Life will come back to you and will reflect back to you how beautiful and loving and powerful and amazing you are. Guaranteed 100%. So our soup's nearly ready. I told you how easy this was. Look, you get life lessons and soup all in one short broadcast. So now what we're going to do is we're going to add, I've got 4 cups of low sodium beef stock. So again, no need to have a whole bunch of sodium. It's not good for you. You can buy great low sodium or no sodium stocks now at the grocery store. Just pour that into your soup. We're also going to add a couple of bay leaves. And then we're going to bring this to the boil, we're going to cover it, and we're going to let it simmer. And while that's simmering, I'm going to pull a card because I want to give you that final nudge, and I hope that you'll stick around for it because the last key is probably the most important. So the card I drew today, what I did was I just kind of meditated on what I was wanting to share and talk about today, and then I drew a card from my Kitchen Witch deck. And the card that I got was the 3 of Swords. Now, look at how powerful this is. The 3 of Swords shows a heart, and there are 3 swords going right through the heart. This is a card of painful experiences. And what the card is reminding us or nudging us to do today is to feel the pain of our own history or our own painful experiences. Because when we can feel the pain, when we can acknowledge that it exists, we can help it go away. We can help it lose its grip on us or lose its power on us. That's what I did. That's how I got from there to here. I had to revisit some of those painful messages that were telling me I wasn't good enough. I had to go back and revisit things that I heard as a kid that told me I wasn't good enough. I know you've got painful messages too. We all do. And then I had to look at the world around me and go, I'm not going to buy into this societal nonsense that I'm supposed to be A, B, or C person in order to be acceptable. Instead, I just know that I'm awesome on my own, and I don't need the outside world to approve me of that because I have this light shining out of my solar plexus. So the only way around pain or to heal pain is to go through pain, and that's what the card tells us. Now, all the better to be able to go back you will get clues along the way that you are starting to live small or that you're going back into a lack place. Those are the times when you start feeling judgmental of other people, because our judgments of other people have nothing to do with them. They're all about us and the way we feel about ourselves. So you'll have that if you're getting judgmental, if you're feeling small, if you're feeling insignificant, if you're feeling unworthy. Instead of sinking into those feelings, instead use them as a roadmap and as a clue that you just have work to do, that maybe you need to revisit the painful place that's causing you to feel that way. Maybe you're being triggered. Maybe something's happening in the outside world that's causing you to bring these things up. And when we can acknowledge them, we can heal them. And so much the better if we've got some trusted people in our lives that we can talk to. We have a saying in my office where when one of us gets triggered or when we get to that lacking place, we say, talk me down, help me out. You want people in your life who you can be honest with, who will help you out, and then it just becomes magical and so much fun. So now we're going to get on to the next part, which is my favorite, and that's going to be to taste this amazing soup.
In order to do so, we're going to build it. Now, what I like to do is place macaroni noodles that have been cooked just to al dente into the bottom of my bowl and then pour my soup over top. This ensures nice, firm noodles because you know I'm not about soggy noodles of any kind. Okay, now let's give it a taste.
That is so good. So much flavor in that. It's super comforting, but it's also super, super healthy and good for you, which is going to add to you feeling more comfortable in your own skin. I hope you enjoyed today's video and that you're enjoying this new take on the kitchen witch. I'm really trying to marry more of my own personality and personal life into my cooking videos to give you, my viewers who I love and adore, a chance to know me better and perhaps to learn a few things along the way. Please let me know in the comments if you're enjoying this, and as well share with me, where are you on your own journey towards self-worth? Do you have things that you've done that have helped you get there, or are there things that you might need to work on? If so, I hope that this is helpful to you. Please let me know if you try any of my keys and techniques, or if you try this recipe, which is truly an absolute 100% winner. Stay tuned then next week, because I'm going to be featuring some insights about forgiveness and a super forgiving and delicious recipe. Until then, have a wonderful week and we'll see you next Wednesday. Bye for now.